Okay, welcome to Torah, Parshas Tetzaveh, Yud Adar, Tufshin Pei. As usual, I'm not super prepared, but I saw a nice Maisa in the Rabbi Abu Chacher's pamphlet, and maybe we could start off with a good Maisa, and we could tie it into some Torah. The Maisa Azeh. The Spinker Rebbe said over this Maisa. Chaka Yitzchak said it from his father, the Imre Yosef of Spink, I believe it was, that there was a younger man. It was Leila Seder, and he wanted to after the Seder he wanted to continue to be Mesabes Yis Mitzrayim, until you fall asleep. You're not supposed to go to sleep, and so he said Shir Shirim. And he was still wide awake, and he said he started learning the Haggadah a little more, some Joshua Haggadah, and he was still wide awake, and he got to a point where it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he's still wide awake, and he was trying to figure out what should he do for his avodah of Leil HaSeder. So he said, you know what? He says that the tightness of Esther she was geyser on Klal Yisrael back by Purim was Leil HaSeder. So Mela, he says tonight has Hata Shaychus with Nes Purim, so he's gonna lay in the Megillah. So he pulled out the Megillah and he started laying the Megillah with the Geshmak. After laying the Megillah, all of a sudden, a neshama is megal itself to this younger man, and he says, "Who are you? What are you doing here? How can I help you?" He says that. I'll tell you how you can help me. He says every year Purim, when Yidden lay in the Megillah, so all the neshamas that are floating around the world that can't go into Gan Eden, they get a chance to line up by the doors of Gan Eden, open them. All these neshamas that the way he describes in the story is that there are neshamas that finished Gehenim, but they're noch nish roy to go into Gan Eden, so they sort of have to just sit around, and I don't know what they would do all day. They learn Daf Yomi all day. Whatever, they stay busy, right? But they can't get into Gan Eden. Comes Megillah, and Yidden lay in the Megillah, and the doors of Gan Eden open up, and all the neshamas that can get in during the Megillah lane and get to go in. But the only thing is, there's thousands and thousands of neshamas, and by the time the Megillah is over, not everyone's gotten in. Okay, so. This neshama says the last number of years I've been lining up at a door, but every year I just don't make the cut. So I said this year, after Megillah, I said I'm not leaving this gate over here of Gan Eden. I'm staying right here until next Purim. I'm not going for anything. I'm going to be the first one online. Okay, like the Black Friday people, Lahavdil, right? I'm going to be the first one online. He says tonight I'm sitting there by the doors of Gan Eden, and you hear the Megillah. I start knocking on the door. The Megillah, open up. There's a Megillah. They said someone's laying the Megillah, but it's not Purim. Sorry. He says, "What do you mean? Deal's a deal. Megillah, you open the gates, let me in." So they said, listen. And that's really we have to consult with the higher ups over here. And they came back. The psak was that if you get that younger man that's laying the Megillah to give you to make a tikkun for you, we'll let you in. So he says, here I am. He says, that they told me that if you'll give me a bracha or whatever you have to do for my tikkun, they'll let me in. So I'm here for my tikkun. So he says, okay, fine. He says, I'll learn Mishnayos for you. He said, if we talk Mishnayos, sure enough, Nisham went off to Gan Eden. So they say that Imre Yosef said over the story. He didn't stop say over stories, and he didn't know firsthand, and he gave no name to who this younger man was. So the assumption was it was a Maisa that happened to himself that he was saying over. That was the way that they said the story over. Okay, so and this got me thinking. When I saw the story, I was gewaltig nisragish from it. I don't know why, but everyone knows Purim has in it unbelievable madrigas that are just waiting to be uncovered. And just the way the story brought it out, I naturally believe stories. I'm just very gullible that way. I see a story, it rings true that Purim has something so special to it. So Mela is a Gavaldik Nisragish. But what's the Pshat? What's Pshat in Purim that has this inyan of this Gavaldik Atikun? So let's start with the famous Gemara and maybe bring out the point from there. Gemara Megillah tells us that Rab and Rab Zera used to have the Sudas Purim together every year, and one year, right, come Rabba, the Shachar Rab Zera. Rab Zera of the Sudas Purim Bahadi Adadi. They made a Sudas every year. They got together Sudas Purim. Ifsum, they got drunk. Come Rabba Shachar Rab Zera. Rabba got up and Shachar Rab Zera. Lamacha by Rachmi va'Achye. The next year, he davened the following day by Rachmi. He davened for him va'Achye Mechayim Mason. So the famous story, Gavaldik Kapella. What is going on over here? You know, we've all drunk a little too much, right? And none of us ever had a havamina none of us ever had a havamina to shechta chaverim. You know, maybe a talmud or two. You know what I'm saying? But your chavrusa, you know, Rab Zera, right? What's the pshat, right? Rab Zera was katina shaki. Yeah. So what's the pshat that it's such a havmina that Rabbi could do something? In fact, we're talking Rabbi, talking Rab Zera, right? You know, the bigger tzaddikim, the drunker they get, the more nechlas yain yata side, the more pnimis they get. They don't become a shigayim, right? They sit there and they're ilam misal yainin. So Avada, what's going on over here, the pashtus, okay, is something very pnimis going on over here. And in as much as this is the pnimis hatayrish here, so we're going to try to understand what that is. Weiter, steht in the Gemara, Lashona, Amalei, Nesi Mar, so the following year, Rabbi invites Rab Zera over again. Okay, let's do Sudas Purim again. Amalei, Rab Zera said, no thank you. Not every year is Misrachash Nisa. So, what was Rabbi's Havmin that Rab Zera would accept? What's Rab Zera's answering back? Nisa. Obviously, if you're going to invite me again, we're going to make every precaution that there be no knives in the room, right? You're not going to overdo it, right? So something happened, an unbelievable thing. He hit a bad bottle, right? But there's a havmina invite him over. He's going to shecht him again. He said, if he was worried about being shechted again, he should have said, he says, I'm not coming because I'm not interested in. I don't trust you, right? I have no bitachon that you could be able to act like a normal person. You shechted me last year. I'm afraid I'm going to be shechted this year. What's he going to the nace part? Meaning he's nachas to the fact that, okay, you invited me over to shecht me, but I'm not convinced this year that you can be able to bring me back to life. As is mashmo here. Okay, so the kashas all answer each other. That Avada Rabbi's shchita of Zera was a chatchila. Right? There's something very pnimi to it. When you invite him back the next year, you say, wasn't that amazing last year? We were mekayim azak groisa avodas Purim. I shechted you, we did a tchias hamesim. How about we come back and this year we're going to recreate that gewaldige avodah that we had last year. That's how I want to title the conversation. Zakt Rab Zera, it was a gewaldige avodah. I chap exactly where you're coming from. Aber, you know, I want to maybe taina that Rabbi told him, come back this year, and this year you could shecht me, right? And Rav Zera said, I don't know if I don't maybe I'll be able to bring you back to life. What's this avodah of shchit and tchias hamesim of Purim? The simcha of Purim is a very, very tifa simcha, and one of the main simchas of Purim is kimu v'kibli Yehudim aleim. Zokting Mar Megillah, kimu masha kibli kvar. The Klal Yisrael had a new Kabbalah Torah on Purim. The Kabbalah Torah on Purim was, in as much as that Klal Yisrael was there's Kaf Aleim Hakigigis, right? So Mela the Kabbalah was lacking, right? Kaf Aleim Hakigigis, Tais says, was on the Torah Shabbat Peh. So there's a lacking a true Kabbalah on Torah Shabbat Peh because it was derech kfiyah. Mela hada kiblu b'me'ach hashverish a Kabbalah meiratzon a Kabbalah me'ava, and this was a true Kabbalah's HaTorah. And this is one of the simchas of Purim. This is one of the madregas of Purim. The Klal Yisrael reaches a madrega of a Kabbalah me'ava. A Kabbalah me'ava is the greatest connection to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. This is part of the tifkeit of the Yontiv of Purim. Coupled with this Kabbalah HaTorah of Purim, we find an interesting zach which mimics the Kabbalah HaTorah of Har Sinai. The Kabbalah HaTorah Har Sinai, we spoke about it in Parshas Yisroi Mishpatim. I think we got to in Parshas Mishpatim by Nasav and Ishma, that the Parcha Nishmasan by Har Sinai was muchach in the Kabbalah HaTorah, right? And Memela in Purim, if you're going to have a new Kabbalah, the Kabbalah has to be in the oifen that you are a new person that's right to be Kabbalah Torah, right? Mali l'risha b'nei. A boss of Adam hat nicht kein shaychus to Torah. But a person who's a yid who's raised to madrega of a ben Torah, he has a shaychus to be Kabbalah Torah. So we touched up the Parcha Nishmasan by Matan Torah was this Indian of Tchias HaMesim, which is a schachus to be mechayed them dorch Torah. The Kimu v'Kibbul HaYehudim on Purim also has this inyan of Tchias HaMesim in it, because, like we're saying, Kabbalah HaTorah needs to have a Tchias HaMesim. You need to be a person right to be Mekabel Torah. Stam a boss of Adam, who's in an Olam HaGashmi, who's in a matzav of Galus, whatever you read, is the Galus bobblehead, will need this ischachas for a Naya Kabbalah. Where do you find this ischachas of Tchias HaMesim? So this again. Another chelik of the Simcha of Purim is the Hatzalah. That the nace of the Hatzalah of Purim was the whole inyan of the nace was an inyan of Tchias HaMesim. The Klal Yisrael was in a matzav that was nechtam a gezerah. The gezerah was already was nichtav. It was nechtam b'tabas hamelach ein lahashiv. And thus haste the be'emes the gezerah of Klal Yisrael was ein lahashiv. Right? The Kadosh Baruch Hu is Amrosel Gvaris K'Misirasel Lehedjim. When Kadosh Baruch Hu makes a gezerah, and the gezerah is nechtam, right? That's a ma'isa. Kadosh Baruch Hu's diber, his ratzon, and his ma'isa are one and the same. You can't separate ratzon of Kadosh Baruch Hu, gezerah of Kadosh Baruch Hu, and the lemaisa of the gezerah. So kum taisif that there's a be'emes the gezerah, and the gezerah is nechtam b'tabas hamelch. Gezerah hamelch ein lahashiv. Thus, Heis Klal Yisrael was in a matziv of misa mamish in the gezerah. The chiddush of Neis of Purim was that when the gezerah is undone, das heis Tchias HaMesim. The Klal Yisrael was zoiche to madregas of Tchias HaMesim in the Hatzalah of Neis Purim. So Neis Purim was not only a Hatzalah, but it was in Gansin a new ischachas of Klal Yisrael with the Tchias HaMesim. By undoing that gezerah, das heis that's a begin of Tchias HaMesim. Memela comes out very nice. The Klal Yisrael has its kimu v'kiblu. It has a necessary precursor to Kabbalah HaTorah, which is the Tchias HaMesim Shabai. To be a klei kibul of Torah, you have to have this ischachas of Tchias HaMesim. Klal Yisrael had that in the Hatzalah. So kumtais that the gezerah from Misa is only a hechetimsa to have a tchia to be zoichet to kimu v'kiblu to have the kiblu me'achashverish. And now we understand the whole conversation between the whole conversation and the avodah of Rabbi Zera. Rabbi Zera said, if the nace of Purim and the simcha of Purim is the Tchias HaMesim Shabai, right, the misim of Tchias HaMesim and the ischachas of the kimu v'kiblu, so no, we're on the madrega, we could do this lemaisa, right? So come Rabbi Zera, lechatchila ein achnam. He wasn't ifsam. He wouldn't have come up as a chiddush, or wouldn't have been able to be so mechudesh. Let's say, right? It comes dark. Going to reaching a madrega of lamalim and ateva, which is the bechin of a tzaddik when he's ifsam yayin. And that was the conversation, that was the ma'aseh that was going on. Rabbi Zera, it was a chatchila to replicate the madregas of Purim. The madrega and simcha of Purim is the Tchias HaMesim and the Kabbalah HaTorah mitoch Tchias HaMesim, and that was after the Havmina. Let's do it again this year. It was a gewaldige replicate of Tchias HaMesim and Simchas Purim. That may be first half of tonight's. Let's get back to the Meister Spinkin Rebbe, right?
Wait, why didn't he want to do it again?
He said, because when you're sober, you can't entertain it. So when you make an invitation in sober terms, that's not a regular avodah. The Mela just the Zushtal to the Maisa. Not that the Maisa needs a Zushtal, but this would be the Bechina. And in as much as that the Avodah of Megillah is the Tchias HaMeisim, which means a total hischachas from the matzav that you're into a new matzav. So Mela, that would be why in the Shama, if it's in a matzav that's not Roi for Gan Eden, also has its aliyah to be Zeicha. That's its Tchias HaMeisim to go from Eis Gehenim to Arayin Gehenim. Right, so we're going to get into Arayin. The Gemara tells us just a little bit to understand the one inyan of Megillah in the nace of Purim. So very prominently played in the nace of Purim is Esther Malka. Right, she's very prominent. At the same time, you have Mordechai. You have Mordechai is Mordechai Tzaddik, and you have Esther the Tzaddikis. You have the like the dynamic duo over here, right? The Midas Mordechai, which is the Midas of a Mashpia, the Midah of the right that Esther was actually his wife, right? So they have this literally this partnership, the way a husband and wife partner, that the husband is mashpia, the wife is makabel. You have these two units in the Nesa Purim, and this the Gemara tells us on Daf Daled in Megillah. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Nashim Chayavis Mikra Megillah Sh'afein Hayu Ba'is Hanes. Women for this reason are chayav in Megillah. Sh'afein Hayu Ba'is Hanes. What does it mean? Sh'afein Hayu Ba'is Hanes. So the Rashbam in Meseches Psachim, right, by Arba Kaisis, right, state that Afin Hayu Ba'is Hanes. Has to bring us down over here. The Afin Hayu Ba'is Hanes is the women were the Ikar Nes. And Isha was the Ikar Nes when it comes to Purim. Who is the Ikar Nes? Esther was the Ikar Nes. Okay? And Hu Adim by Chanukah, women are chayav in there's Chanukah, Afin Hayu Ba'is Nes. Ikar Nes was Yehudis, right, that she killed. She killed the Tafsar. Right? She killed Eli Porni, whatever his name was. Right? And Nashim are chayav in Arba Kaisis, Afin Hayu Ba'is Nes. Right, because b'schus nashim tzidkanios nigalu aviseinu mimitzrayim. Okay, so every time we have the Torah, the Gemara tells us Avin Hayu Ba'is Hanes, we have women in a prominent role as being as what's described as Ikar Hanes. Okay, as I tie it to Rashbam, Ikar Hanes. In fact, Taisus Akasha that the lashon of Avin Hayu Ba'is Hanes does not sound like they're saying the Ikar Hanes. Avin Hayu Ba'is Hanes sounds like they're subordinate, they're tafel to the Nes, right? They're also in the Nes. Right? If the pshat was that the Ikar Nes, it would have said Shehem Hanes Baal Yodam. Right? Afin Hayu Ba'is Hanes is mashra that they're tafel today. So what's going on over here? Okay? What's pshat in the Rashbam? Now, L'chaira, Taisus has a good diak, right? Rashi Megillah Taka says like Taisus, right? Afin Hayu Ba'is Hanes is that they were tafel to the Nes Sha'af Hein Hayu B'Isik Zera Lahashmin Laharag La'abed. Okay? But L'chaira, the Rashbam has a very interesting point. Right? Isn't it interesting that every nace that happens to Klal Yisrael, right, when there's whole Klal Yisrael, there is a woman in a very prominent role who can be described as Iker. No one's arguing saying they weren't Iker, right? The Taisha isn't saying, oh, Esther wasn't important, right? Yehudis wasn't important, the Nashim Sekanis weren't important. We know they were very important. And as far as looking at the picture, you could say they're Iker. The Shaila is the Lashon HaGemara is Af, not a Lashon of Iker. Okay? So Mela, he says that's not the pshat. Right? That every time you have a nace, there's an isha over here who is prominent and can be described as ikar. Right? We may not be focusing on that, maybe, right? But at the end of the day, it seems to be necessary that every time there's a nace in Klal Yisrael, there always has to be an isha in a prominent position. There is a when it comes to the Binyan HaMishkan in these week's Parshas, right? You find, right, the women also all of a sudden they play a very prominent role, right? You don't hear a word from the women. Last time we heard a peep from the women was after Ozyashir for a couple of psukim, and all of a sudden comes the Mishkan, a Makam Ashras Hashchina, and the women are all involved, right? The Chal Isha Chacham slave Biyadeh Tavu Asa Isim. They have this whole Chacham Yisera that was given to them. Tetzaveh Isim. The lashon of the pasuk is like it turns your head around. Vayavoyu ha'anoshim al hanoshim. Right. That's the lashon of the pasuk of coming to build a mishkan. This lashon of this partnership between the anoshim and the nashim. So when it comes to in Yonim of Gewaltika Ali and Klal Yisrael, which is a binyan Mishkan, Ashras Ashkin, and these Nisim, women always play a prominent role. What's the pshat? So I want to tie into that the pshat is that Avada. What is it? What's the pshat when you have a partnership between a husband and a wife? That you have how does it work? Right, the husband is always the mashpia, right? He's the madregas hakavayis, but he's moli shefa. He has no place to put the shefa, right? You need a clay kibble for the shefa, okay? And that is the isha. The isha is the bias, right? She contains all the bracha, all the hashpah of the husband. So Mimela Azeh. Avada, the ikr of any hashpah is the mashpia. Aber a shefa that has no place to be contained, right, goes larik, right? It goes no place. It doesn't have any standing in Olam Hazeh. So the way we'll describe it is women are asiya, they're Olam Asiya, or Midas Hadin, they're the kalim. And we'll say Esther is the keli, right? Esther is Midas Hamalchus. She has to be Malchus. Malchus is a keli, right? Esther is Bigamatria, right? The Arizal says Esther is Bigamatria Shem Aleph Dalad Bimiluyoi, okay? Which is when you write out Aleph Lamed Fei, and you write the Dalad is Dal Lamed Tuf. The Nun is a Nun Vav Nun, and the Yud is a Yud Vav and a Dalad. That's Bigamatria Tuf Reish Ayin Aleph. Esther is Tuf Reish Samach Aleph, and he adds another 10 from. I forgot how he gets the next 10 to get the Tuf Reish Samach Aleph of Esther to the Tuf Reish Ayin Aleph. But as that's clear that Esther is Midas Hamachos. You don't need a reason to tell you that. Every Isha is Midas Hamachos. That's what she is. Right? I told you from Yitzchak Eisenhower many weeks ago. Yitzchak Eisenhower, he saw an Isha. He didn't see the Isha. He saw Shem Aleph Dal walking around. You don't need a raya. You don't need a raya for that. That's Goli v'Yadu Lakol. There's no such thing as Isha. It's just a keli, right? Mordechai is the mashpia of the nes. The lashon the lashon of the Arizal is for whoever understands these things. Maybe someone will listen to this shir in 50 years and know what this means. But Mordechai is hashpah of Yisoid Abba. Okay, that's mislabeshes b'malchus in Esther. Okay, they work as a team. There's that's mashpia in the keli. So meilazei. Avad the ikra hanes is mashpia from the nes, but there's no reason you can't call the ikra hanes, right? What contains a nes in Olam Hazeh to bring it to lemaisa in Olam Hazeh. Esther lemaisa brought it to lemaisa. Mordechai brought that all the hashpahs for the nisim, right? Esther, as the midas hamalchus, as the asiya, brings it contains all the hashpah to actually bring it el hamaisa. So they're both true, right? The Isha is the Iker, but she's tuffle because the Keli is tuffle to its R. Ultimately, the Keli is tuffle to its R. Her Raya, right? The famous Raya that a Keli is tuffle to its R. The Gemara Shabbos tells us that if you carry a Keli on Shabbos, Bereshus L'Reshus, Yechayiv Yishum Haitzah. However, if the Keli is holding a half a groigus in it, and you carry a Keli with half a groigus in it, right? You're not Chayiv Yishum Haitzah. Because the keli is tougher than half a groigus is pachas b'kashir, you're not chayv b'shemayitzah. So a keli that is subordinate to what's inside of it is tuffle to what it's containing. If what's containing is pachas b'kashir, you're not even be chayv b'shemayitzah on the keli. So mela avada, the keli is tuffle, but it's ikr because this is what brings it lemaisa. Comes out interesting. Just midas hamachus is known as midas hadin, right? Dina the malchus adina, right? The lashon of af hein hayu b'isaynes. Just thinking af is the lashon of din, right? Afein Hayabais Hanes is being meramis to the Midas Ha'af. The Midas Hadin of Isha, that this the Midas Hadin is ultimately what contains. Right? Din is a mitzamtzim, it contains iris. Iris is mispasha the chesed. They have no effect until they have what to be contained in. But this can be masber, an interesting zach. The Taisus brings down. He brings down that if women are chayiv in Mikra Megillah, so then women should be able to be mitzi anoshim in Mikra Megillah. And they bring down a Tosefta, right? That noshim can't be mitzi anoshim in Mikra Megillah. Why can't noshim be mitzi anoshim if they're both the zelvachiv, right? If takana, rabban, the mitzvah rabban, Mikra Megillah, sai for noshim, sai for anoshim, right? So why can't they be mitzi? Why can't they be mitzi the anoshim? So Aktaisis he brings down is it Taisus? So Taisus says, not sure it's Taisvis. So the Rishayim, I'm not sure if Taisvis, what do the Rishayim says Azay? The mitzvah of Noshim in Megillah is different than the mitzvah of Anoshim. The mitzvah of Anoshim is Kriyas Megillah, Al Mikra Megillah, and the mitzvah of Noshim is Lishmaya Megillah. Okay? That's what some Rishonim say. Taisus is Bavarans, but he doesn't say it. He doesn't say it as a teretz.
I think it's pretty simple. Kriyas Megillah is Mashpia.
Okay, so you chat me ice, right? Let's just ask you as a kash and say a teretz. How could that be? Right? You have one Mikra Megillah, Nashim Ba'isa Neis, and all of a sudden the two chiyuvim they split. The man's mitzvah is a kriya, and the woman's mitzvah is a shmiya. Teretz is gewaldik, like Iris Machadish over here, right? That mitzvah of noshim is b'tayras that they're mekablim of the nes. Afazayvai did the mekablim of the nes, they klei kibble. This is their chelik of afin haybayis nes. Mele in the Mikra Megillah of the Megillah, in the mitzvah of the Mikra Megillah, also their chelik is going to be the chelik that they partook in the nes. They partook in the nes, or they contribute to the nes. As the mekablim, they're also the mekablim of the iris of the Mikra Megillah of the anoshim. You're not in takim shezeichet to have nisim and bezeichet be nisan nigalo be nisan asim ligala with all the hachana of Purim going into this.